You wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone. You scroll, you swipe. You waste 10 minutes convincing yourself you're just waking up. You tell yourself you'll go to the gym later. You'll start the project tomorrow. You'll get serious next week. But you won't. You won't because you've built your life around comfort. And comfort has turned you into a slave. You think you're free because you can do whatever you want. But that's the biggest lie society ever sold you. Freedom isn't doing what you want. Freedom is having the power to do what you don't want and doing it anyway. Comfort is poison disguised as peace. It feels good in the moment, but it's slowly killing your potential. Every time you hit the snooze button, every time you choose the couch over the grind, every time you eat garbage instead of fuel, you're giving away a piece of your power. The world isn't designed to make you strong. It's designed to make you soft, obedient, and dependent. That's why everything that truly builds you is uncomfortable. The weights are heavy, the runs are long, the work is exhausting. But that's where strength lies. That's where you meet the part of yourself you've been avoiding. You know what's funny? Everyone says they want to win. Everyone talks about success, discipline, becoming a beast. But when life hands them a test, when they're tired, when they're broke, when things get hard, they fold, they go back to comfort. They look for the easy route. The easy route is crowded with people going nowhere. The hard road, that's where the kings walk. That's where the warriors are forged. And the difference between them and you is simple. They learn to love what sucks. You've got to understand, life is supposed to be hard. You are supposed to feel tired, angry, frustrated. That's what living feels like when you're building something great. You're not supposed to feel comfortable when you're leveling up. You think a lion feels comfortable chasing down a gazelle after fasting for 3 days. No, but he does it anyway, because comfort doesn't feed him. Action does. Hunger does. Pressure does. You have to make a decision. Do you want to be entertained or do you want to be empowered? Because you can't have both. Every minute you spend chasing comfort is a minute you could have spent chasing dominance. Every time you choose what feels good over what's right, you reinforce weakness. And weakness becomes your identity. You start to convince yourself you're just not that kind of person. You start to rationalize mediocrity. You start building walls around your potential just to make your comfort zone feel like home. But it's not home. It's a prison you built yourself. And every second you stay there, the walls grow thicker. The strongest men on earth aren't the ones who were born gifted. They're the ones who trained themselves to thrive in pain. They're the ones who look at discomfort and say, good, let's go. Because they understand that strength is a choice. You can't think your way into becoming tough. You have to bleed your way there. You have to sweat for it, grind for it, fight for it. You have to take that softness inside you. That little voice that wants to rest, that wants to relax and kill it. Every second of your life is an opportunity to grow stronger, but you keep trading those seconds for comfort. That's why you're stuck. That's why you feel lost. You think it's bad luck. You think it's destiny, but it's not. It's comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It tricks you into believing you're okay when you're not. It whispers you deserve rest, even though you've done nothing to earn it. It tells you, oh, it's fine, when deep down you know it's not. Comfort is the soft blanket that smothers your hunger. So the next time you feel that resistance, that pull to stay in bed, that hesitation before you do something hard, recognize it for what it is: weakness begging for survival. That's the moment you win or lose. Not on the battlefield, not in the office, not in the gym. You win in that second you decide to reject comfort. Because every time you do, you take one step closer to strength, to dominance, to freedom. Most people will live their entire lives avoiding pain and then wonder why they never grow. They'll chase comfort until they die, still waiting for the right moment, still making excuses. But the truth is, there is no right moment. There's only now, and now is uncomfortable. Now is cold. Now is early. Now is painful. But now is where power lives. You either learn to live there, or you'll spend your life watching stronger men dominate you. Comfort is the enemy of strength. The moment you understand that, you stop running from the hard things. You start running toward them. And once you start doing that, every day becomes a test of will, a test of discipline, A test of how far you're willing to go when everyone else quits. That's how warriors are made. That's how men become legends. That's how you build a life worth living, by doing what everyone else is too comfortable to even attempt. Pain is the greatest teacher you'll ever have, but most people spend their lives trying to avoid it. They run from it like it's the enemy, when in reality, pain is the very thing that shapes who you are. Every piece of strength you admire in another person was born through struggle. Every ounce of confidence, every bit of discipline, every layer of resilience, it all comes from pain. You cannot build a strong mind or a powerful body without going through discomfort. That's the truth most people refuse to accept because they want growth without suffering, victory without sacrifice, and greatness without grind. You think pain is unfair. No, pain is equal. It doesn't care where you're from, what your background is, or how rich or poor you are. It visits everyone. But what separates men from boys, kings from slaves, is how they respond when it shows up. When pain hits, weak men complain. Strong men adapt. The weak cry about the storm. The strong become the storm. That's the difference. Pain isn't your punishment. It's your preparation. It's life's way of asking, how bad do you want it? And every time you choose to push through, every time you face it instead of run from it, you build another layer of identity that can't be shaken. You ever notice how the strongest people you know always have a story? A struggle, a loss, a betrayal, something that broke them. That's not coincidence. Pain is the fire that burns away weakness. It forges the character that comfort can never give you. Comfort inflates your ego. Pain builds your soul. Comfort gives you false confidence. Pain gives you real strength. Comfort makes you soft. Pain makes you sharp. The reason most people never find out who they really are is because they've never truly suffered. They've never been pushed far enough to see what's left when everything else is stripped away. When you go through pain, when you hit rock bottom, when life beats you down and no one is coming to save you, that's when you meet your real self. Not the version you post online. Not the version you pretend to be when things are easy. The raw, unfiltered you. The one who either fights or folds. That's identity, that's truth. You learn what you're made of when there's nothing left but pain. That's why most people avoid it. Because it exposes them. It shows them the weakness they've hiding behind comfort. You can tell me all day you want success, but if you can't endure pain, you don't want success. You want fantasy. Because the road to success is made of broken bones, sleepless nights, doubt, and sacrifice. You'll lose people. You'll lose money, you'll lose comfort, but in the process, you'll find something far more powerful, yourself. You'll realize you were never built for an easy life. You were built to conquer hard ones. Pain builds pride. Pain builds respect. Not the fake kind, but the kind you feel when you look in the mirror and know you didn't quit when you could have. You'll start to move different, speak different, think different. You'll stop chasing validation because you already know what you've endured. You don't need applause when you've earned scars. Pain makes you self-sufficient. It turns boys into men and men into warriors. The problem is most people use pain as a reason to stop. They take it as a sign they're on the wrong path. But pain doesn't mean stop. It means keep going. It's the proof that you're in the right place. You're breaking limits. You're forcing growth. The gym hurts because your muscles are growing. The grind hurts because your mind is expanding. The discipline hurts because your emotions are being tamed. Every form of pain is progress wearing a disguise. When you start to understand that, you stop fearing it. You start chasing it. You start asking for the pain because you know what it brings. You start wanting the early mornings, the cold showers, the lonely nights, the moments of doubt. Because those are the moments that build you. Pain is the cost of transformation, and you can't fake your way around it. You either pay it or you stay weak. If you're sitting there right now feeling broken, lost, tired, or defeated, good. That means life is testing you. That means you're in the forge. That means you're being built. The pain you're feeling isn't the end. It's the process. You don't build muscle without tearing it first. You don't build identity without breaking the old one. The version of you that's strong, confident, unshakable. He's on the other side of pain, but you'll never meet him if you keep running from it. Every moment of suffering you endure is carving something powerful inside you. It's building the foundation of who you are. And the more pain you endure, the stronger that foundation becomes. Because life will test you again. It always does. And when it does, your identity will be the shield that protects you. That shield is built in pain. Every failure, every heartbreak, every setback, they're not curses, they're bricks. And those bricks, stacked with enough patience and endurance, become the fortress that no one can break. Pain doesn't destroy you. It defines you. It strips away weakness and reveals truth. The man who runs from pain will always live in fear. The man who embraces it will never be controlled again. Because once you've gone through hell and survived, you stop fearing the fire. You become it. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it feels like it. It whispers in your ear on the days you already feel strong. It gives you a little rush, makes you feel unstoppable for a moment, and then it disappears the second life gets uncomfortable. You can't rely on motivation because it's built on emotion, and emotion is temporary. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're sad. It doesn't care if it's raining, if you're broke, or if you don't feel like it. Discipline is about one thing, doing what must be done, no matter what. Every man who's ever dominated life has one thing in common. He stopped waiting to feel like it. He realized that the secret to power wasn't in motivation, but in consistency. Think about it. Every time you rely on motivation, you're telling yourself that your feelings are in control. That means when your feelings die, your progress dies with them. But discipline doesn't die. It's the voice that says, get up. When your body screams, stay down. It's the force that separates dreamers from doers, talkers from winners. You want to know why most people never change? Because they wait for motivation to come back. They keep saying, I'll start when I feel ready, or I'll go harder when I'm inspired again. They treat their goals like mood swings. But the truth is, nothing great has ever been built by waiting to feel good. The gym doesn't care how motivated you are. The grind doesn't care how tired you are. The world doesn't stop spinning because you lost your spark. The only thing that matters is what you do when that spark is gone. That's when the real test begins. You see, motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you moving when everything around you tells you to stop. That's what separates the elite from the average. The elite do what needs to be done even when it sucks, even when it's boring, even when it feels pointless, because they know something the weak don't. The feeling always follows the action. You don't wait to feel good to take action. You take action and the feeling comes later. Motivation follows movement. Every single day, you have two voices in your head. One says, rest, you've done enough. The other says, do more. Most people listen to the first one because it sounds gentle, it sounds logical, it sounds safe. But the second voice, that's the one that builds empires. That's the voice of discipline. That's the voice that doesn't care about comfort, about mood, about convenience. That's the voice that turns ordinary men into machines. The truth is, you'll never always feel like working. You'll never always feel like showing up. You'll never always feel like grinding. But the man who wins is the man who shows up anyway. He treats his goals like oxygen, non-negotiable. He doesn't rely on emotion, he relies on execution. Because once you've trained your mind to move without needing a push, no one can stop you. You become self-fueled. You become dangerous. You want to change your life. Stop worshiping motivation. Stop chasing that high. You don't need to feel inspired to act. You need to act until inspiration becomes irrelevant. Discipline is the quiet beast that doesn't need applause. It doesn't post about progress, it creates it. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions, it thrives in chaos. That's the difference between the man who dreams and the man who dominates. You know what discipline really is? It's self-respect. It's the ability to tell yourself, I said I'd do it, so I'm doing it. Not because anyone's watching, not because you'll get a reward, but because you refuse to be a liar to yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your confidence. Every time you keep one, you strengthen your identity. That's why discipline is everything. It's the foundation of pride, strength, and freedom. When you live by discipline, your world changes. You stop negotiating with your feelings. You stop letting comfort dictate your decisions. You stop living like a puppet pulled by temporary emotions. You start living like a weapon, sharp, precise, unshakable. Discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds armor. It makes you bulletproof to laziness, to distraction, to weakness. Because when you've trained yourself to move through resistance, nothing can stop your momentum. Motivation might make you feel good for a day, but discipline will make you proud for a lifetime. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not Instagram worthy. But it's real. It's that early morning when no one's watching. It's that late night when everyone else quit. It's that rep you force out when your body says no. That's the stuff greatness is built on. So, the next time you don't feel like it, good, that's the moment discipline is waiting for. That's the moment that separates men from boys. You don't need music, you don't need hype, you don't need motivation, you just need to decide. Because once you've decided that your actions are stronger than your emotions, life becomes simple. You either do it or you don't. And the man who always does it, no matter how he feels, becomes unstoppable. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is forever. The man who depends on motivation will always stop when it fades. But the man who masters discipline, he doesn't stop, he doesn't pause, he doesn't wait. He executes relentlessly until the world bows down to his consistency. Power doesn't come from doing something once. Power comes from doing it every single day, especially when it hurts, especially when it feels useless, especially when no one notices. Most people think success is about intensity, one big push, one big burst of energy, one motivated day. But that's not how it works. Real power is built through consistency, through repetition, through waking up every day and doing what sucks again and again until it becomes a part of who you are. Everyone can work hard when they feel like it. Everyone can show up once in a while, but very few can do it every day without emotion, without validation, without needing to feel ready. That's what separates the strong from the weak. Consistency and discomfort is the ultimate weapon. Because once you learn to stay committed, even when your body screams to stop, you develop a kind of power that no one can take from you. You stop being controlled by feelings. You stop needing motivation. You become unstoppable. Think about it. When you start something new, it's exciting, you feel powerful, you feel driven. But after a week, after a month, when it stops being fun, most people quit. That's where greatness dies, in the space between excitement and discipline. Consistency and discomfort means pushing through that space. It means showing up when the motivation is gone, when the progress is slow, when the results aren't visible yet. Because that's where the real growth is hiding, behind the boredom, behind the pain, behind the part where everyone else gives up. The gym is easy on the first day. The hard part is the 100th day, when your body hurts and no one's clapping for you. Starting a business is exciting in the beginning. The hard part is working through rejection after rejection with no guarantee it'll work. That's why so many fail. Because they only show up when it's comfortable. They only give effort when it feels good. But the truth is, every day won't feel good. Some days, it'll feel like you're wasting your time. Some days, you'll hate the process. But consistency in those moments is what transforms ordinary men into unbreakable machines. You have to understand something powerful. Every time you do what sucks, every time you embrace discomfort and stay consistent, you're training your mind to obey. You're teaching yourself control. You're proving that your emotions don't dictate your actions. That's real strength. The man who can command himself in pain, boredom, and frustration will dominate the man who only acts when conditions are perfect. Consistency and discomfort also builds something else, momentum. It's invisible, but once it starts, it's unstoppable. You might not see results in a day or a week, but every small action compounds. Every rep, every late night, every "I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway" moment, they add up. And one day, you'll look back and realize that what once felt impossible is now your baseline. That's the power of staying consistent when it sucks. Your threshold for pain expands, your limits stretch, your strength multiplies. The reason most people never experience that kind of transformation is because they keep stopping right before the breakthrough. They get close, they feel the burn, and they think it means they're failing. But the burn is progress. The pain is growth. Discomfort is proof that you're doing something right. When you stop running from it and start leaning into it, your entire mindset shifts. You stop seeing discomfort as a curse and start seeing it as fuel. You realize that it's not about feeling better, it's about becoming better. Consistency in discomfort is where respect is earned. People might laugh at you in the beginning. They might not understand your grind, but while they sleep, you're moving. While they rest, you're growing. And eventually, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to respect your discipline. Because consistency always wins. Not today, not tomorrow, but inevitably. Time bends to the man who refuses to quit. Every day you stay consistent in the face of discomfort, you're building two kinds of power, physical and psychological. Physically, you're conditioning your body to handle more. Psychologically, you're rewiring your brain to operate under stress. You stop panicking when life gets tough because you've trained for it. You've lived in discomfort so long that chaos feels normal. That's when you become truly dangerous, when pain no longer controls you, when stress doesn't break you, when failure doesn't stop you. You see, comfort creates fragility, but consistency in discomfort creates dominance. Because life will always test you. It will always throw challenges your way. And the man who has spent years conditioning himself to stay consistent through pain, boredom, and exhaustion, that's the man who wins. He doesn't need luck. He doesn't need hype. He doesn't need motivation. His power comes from within. So when it gets hard, when it feels unbearable, when your mind screams to quit, understand this, that's the moment of transformation. That's the moment when everyone else stops, but you keep going. And every time you do, you separate yourself further from the crowd. You're not just surviving discomfort, you're mastering it. And when you master discomfort, there's nothing left in this world that can stop you. Weakness is clever. It doesn't walk up to you and say, "I'm weakness and I'm here to ruin your potential." No, it comes dressed as logic. It sounds reasonable. It whispers excuses that make sense. It tells you to rest because you've earned it. It tells you to quit because it's probably not worth it. It tells you to take a break because you don't want to burn out. And because it sounds smart, you believe it. You call it self-care, you call it balance, you call it protecting your peace. But what you're really doing is protecting your weakness. That voice in your head that always finds a reason not to push harder, that's not logic. That's fear in disguise. It's the part of you that wants to stay safe, to stay average, to stay comfortable. It will justify laziness with words that sound intelligent. It'll tell you, you should take it easy today. Recovery is important. When you haven't even earned exhaustion, it'll say, don't be too hard on yourself. When what you need is to be harder. Weakness always sounds logical because it knows you'd never obey it if it sounded weak, so it speaks in the tone of reason. The problem is, most people never learn to identify that voice. They think they're being rational when in reality, they're being manipulated. Their mind becomes a negotiator for failure. You set a goal, your weakness immediately builds an argument against it. It's not the right time, you're not ready yet. You'll start when things settle down, and one by one, you buy those lies. You think you're being smart when you're actually being soft. You let weakness win because it came wearing a mask that said, logic. You have to understand that your brain doesn't care about your potential. It cares about survival. It's designed to keep you safe, not successful. So when it sees discomfort, it activates every excuse it can to get you back to safety. It's not evil. It's just primal. But if you want to dominate, if you want to build power, you have to override that programming. You have to recognize that most of the time, the logical reason not to push forward is actually the weak man inside you trying to survive extinction. Every time you're about to do something difficult, to wake up early, to train harder, to work longer, your brain will start talking. It'll start negotiating. It'll start presenting its case like a lawyer. You're too tired today. It's okay to skip just once. You'll do double tomorrow. That's the courtroom where weak men are made. And if you keep listening, you'll start to believe those lies. You'll start thinking you're being strategic when in truth, you're being controlled by fear. The strongest men learn to separate emotion from logic. They listen to that inner voice, but they question it. When it says, you're too tired, they ask, am I tired or am I lazy? When it says, you deserve a break, they ask, Do I deserve it, or do I just want it? They interrogate their excuses. They cross-examine every piece of logic that tries to stop them, because deep down, they know that weakness will always try to disguise itself as wisdom. Weakness will never say, "Don't be great." It'll say, "Be realistic." It'll never say, "Stay average." It'll say, "Don't overdo it." It's sneaky, it's persuasive, and it's deadly, because once you accept weakness as logic, it becomes part of your identity. You start calling yourself practical when you're actually just scared. You start believing that people who push harder are obsessed or unhealthy, when really, they're just willing to silence the voice that you obey. The truth is, greatness doesn't live in logic. Logic will tell you to stop when you're tired. Logic will tell you to slow down when it hurts. Logic will tell you to wait for the right time. But there is no right time. There's only now. Every person who achieved something massive ignored logic at some point. They ignored the reasonable voice that said it couldn't be done. They broke rules that made sense to everyone else, because they understood that logic keeps you safe, but safety keeps you small. You can't live an extraordinary life while obeying ordinary logic. The logical choice is always the easy one. The logical decision is always the comfortable one. The logical path is always the path that leads nowhere. To build power, to dominate life, you have to stop negotiating with weakness. You have to treat every excuse like an enemy, because that's exactly what it is. It's not your friend. It's not protecting you. It's keeping you chained to the life you claim to hate. Next time your mind tells you to rest, ask yourself if you've earned it. Next time it tells you to stop, ask yourself who's talking, the warrior or the coward. You'll know the answer by the tone. Weakness speaks with comfort. Strength speaks with command. Weakness wants to protect your ego. Strength wants to build your empire. Which voice are you going to listen to? The moment you stop falling for weakness disguised as logic, you become dangerous, because then nothing can manipulate you. Not your feelings, not your fear, not your comfort. You start making decisions based on purpose, not preference. You start acting like the man you were meant to be, not the man weakness convinced you to become. When you wake up in the morning, understand this: life doesn't owe you peace, it owes you nothing. The world is a battlefield, and the second you open your eyes, the war begins. Every single day, you're either conquering or you're being conquered. There's no middle ground. There's no neutral zone where you can sit and take it easy. You're either building power or losing it. You're either getting sharper or you're getting duller. The problem is, most people treat life like a vacation instead of a war. They wake up slow, move lazy, talk soft, and wonder why their life feels meaningless. They think they have time. But the clock doesn't stop for anyone. You're losing seconds, strength, and opportunity with every breath you waste pretending tomorrow is guaranteed. Domination isn't a one-time act, it's a mindset. It's the decision to treat every day as a battle you must win. Every sunrise is a challenge, a test of who you really are when no one's watching. Because when you start your day like a warrior, you build momentum that carries through everything. The man who dominates his mornings dominates his life. But the one who wakes up weak, already defeated by the comfort of his bed, is done before the fight even starts. That's why every morning must begin with a question. Am I here to exist or to conquer? Most people start their day scrolling, complaining, and reacting. They live in defense mode, letting life attack them. But you must become offensive. You must attack the day before it attacks you. That's what domination looks like. Taking control before the world has a chance to dictate how you feel, what you think, or what you do. You dictate. You decide. You command. Because if you don't, the world will. Weak men wait for motivation. Strong men create movement. When you live like this, every task becomes a battlefield. Every workout, every business call, every decision, it's war. You either win or you don't. And the beauty of this mindset is that it removes emotion from the equation. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop looking for comfort. You stop asking, do I want to do this? Because in war, it doesn't matter what you want. It matters what must be done. You don't negotiate with the enemy, you destroy it. And that's exactly how you must treat your weaknesses, your laziness, your fear, as enemies. Because that's what they are. They're trying to rob you of your potential, your freedom, your legacy. Domination doesn't mean anger or chaos. It means control. It means mastery over yourself so complete that nothing external can shake it. It means that when life hits you, you hit harder. When it throws obstacles at you, you turn them into weapons. You adapt, you evolve, you keep moving. Most people crumble because they expect things to be easy. They think if life is hard, something's wrong. But domination is about expecting hardship. It's about being so mentally fortified that when pain comes, you smile because you know that pain is proof you're still in the fight. You see, domination isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about looking in the mirror and knowing that you gave everything every day, that you didn't waste your strength, that you didn't let the day control you. When you live like this, people feel your presence. They respect your energy. You walk into a room and they can tell, this man doesn't play. This man doesn't negotiate with mediocrity. He's here to win. But domination requires a price: consistency. You can't dominate one day and be lazy the next. That's not domination, that's delusion. You must live it every single day until it becomes part of your DNA. The repetition, the grind, the pain, they forge the man. Most people break because they chase variety. Warriors rise because they chase mastery. They do what others won't every single day until it becomes who they are. That's how you dominate, not by being extraordinary once, but by being relentless always. When your alarm goes off, that's the first battle of the day. And how you handle that first battle sets the tone for everything else. Hit snooze, and you've already lost. You've already told your body that comfort wins. But if you rise, if you move, if you face the day before it faces you, you've won. That single act of dominance creates a chain reaction. You eat better, you train harder, you think clearer, you act with purpose. The world bends to those who move first. Every day is a war against weakness, distraction, and doubt. Every second counts. You can't waste time waiting for perfect moments because there are none. You either seize control or surrender it. The ones who dominate life are not the smartest, richest, or luckiest. They're the ones who act with discipline when everyone else hesitates. They're the ones who look at the same pain that breaks others and say, "Good, let's go." To dominate life is to understand that peace doesn't come from comfort. It comes from conquest. True peace comes when you know you're living fully, using every ounce of what you've got, leaving nothing behind. It's waking up every day, ready to attack your goals with precision and purpose, no matter how you feel. Because feelings fade, but discipline remains. If you want to rise, if you want to live like a king in a world full of peasants, you must earn that crown daily. You must do what sucks, face what scares you, and destroy what weakens you. That's the price. That's the path. And it's worth it because when you live like that, when you dominate like that, every day becomes yours. The world doesn't control you anymore. You control it. You move with purpose, with hunger, with fire. And that fire, that unshakable drive, becomes the force that separates you from the rest of the world forever. When it all comes down to it, domination is not about talk. It's about transformation. It's not about motivation. It's about mastery. Every word, every action, every decision you take builds or destroys the empire you're standing on. And most people never realize that their comfort is their cage. They live avoiding the hard things, running from the pain, chasing distractions that make them feel alive for a moment, but kill their potential forever. But not you, not anymore. Because now you understand the truth. Doing what sucks is the secret. Doing what hurts is how you grow. Doing what others fear is how you rise. Every morning is your battlefield. Every hour is a test. Every second is a weapon. And how you use it defines who you are becoming. You can be average or you can be unstoppable. You can surrender to weakness or you can crush it under the weight of your discipline. The choice has always been yours. And if you want to live like a king, you must think, move, and act like one. Even when it's painful, even when it's boring, even when nobody's watching. That's what separates the elite from the ordinary. Because the man who does what sucks daily builds an armor that nothing can break. He's not controlled by comfort, he controls it. He's not guided by emotions, he commands them. He doesn't wait for chances, he creates them. That man becomes a force, a weapon forged through repetition, pain, and relentless action. And when the world looks at him, it sees something different. It sees certainty, power, purpose. You were not born to exist quietly. You were not designed for mediocrity. You were built for domination. But that version of you, the strongest, sharpest, most dangerous version, only emerges when you push beyond the limit, when you make the decision every day to do what sucks, to fight the urge to stop, to go all in when everyone else is slowing down. This life doesn't reward the comfortable. It rewards the relentless. The ones who rise when it's hard, who show up when it's boring, who work when nobody claps, the ones who treat every sunrise as an opportunity to prove that nothing, not fear, not pain, not fatigue, can control them. So wake up and move with purpose. Train harder, think sharper, push deeper, because domination isn't given, it's earned moment by moment, choice by choice, second by second. The man who conquers his weakness conquers the world. And if you choose that path, if you commit to doing what sucks every single day, you'll build a life that most people only dream of. Because while they're wishing, you're working. While they're hoping, you're dominating. And that's how true kings are made.